Okay, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussion. We'll be going over another King of the Ring review. This is King of the Ring 1995, the one we'd rather forget. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's just hurry up and get through this.
Right.
I will say this. If you look at all the King of the Ring tournament matches throughout the years, this one actually ranks up there as far as the talent that was in this tournament.
Oh,
The outcome, however, way different than what it should have been.
Yeah.
So before we get to the actual pay-per-view, I'll run down the qualifying matches for this pay-per-view. Now, this was the first year that if you had a double count out, double disqualification, time limit draw, this was the first time they said, okay, you're out. That's it. No doink, perfect, redo. So Owen Hart and the British Bulldog was the first qualifying match that they had. They actually ended in a time limit draw, so they were out. So they were not going to be in the tournament. So for the first time ever, a Hart family member was not going to win the tournament. Thank God. In any event, we go from there. Kama qualified by beating Duke the Dumpster Drosy. No, that's one of the matches I was talking about.
The Supreme Fighting Machine.
He was good. He just needed to find the right gimmick. The Undertaker qualified by beating Double J Jeff Jarrett. And I know you were upset when you watched that on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah. I wanted Double J back in there.
Oh, yeah. Here's a WrestleMania match.
He still manages to show up, though.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You think he was going to not be on the pay-per-view? Come on.
Yeah. JEFF, yeah.
The Roadie defeated Doink. Now, that should have been on the pay-per-view. I'm upset about that one.
Doink is the king of the Ring qualifying matches.
Seriously. Mabel defeats my boy, Adam Bomb. Don't start. Bob Holly defeated Mantar.
Oh, jeez.
Shawn Michaels defeated King Kong Bundy, which was actually a good match. I remember
that match. I remember that match, yeah.
And Razor Ramon defeated Jacob Blue. However, due to Razor Ramon's injury, he had to be taken out of the tournament. Mm-hmm. So what they did was the night of the pay-per-view of King of the Ring on the countdown or free-for-all, whatever they had back then, they had a last-minute qualifying match, which was newcomer Savio Vega defeating IRS.
Yeah, with Razor in his corner.
Yeah. If nobody remembers, Savio Vega was Quang in 1994, and they re-gimmicked him to Savio Vega, which was much better. He was really talented, and I really thought throughout this pay-per-view that this up-and-comer I thought they really were going to give him the push.
It was looking like it.
It was, considering who he fought during this. And the last qualifying match, I forgot one, was Yokozuna defeated Lex Luger.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Which this was the start when we talked about Luger's episode back months ago. This was the time where he was really seriously the downhill. This was right around before he left.
That should have been an actual King of the Ring match instead of a qualifying.
Exactly. I know. But
Lex was on his...
We're not the bookers, so well, I wish we were.
Booker, man.
Don't break that fourth wall.
Yeah.
So in any event, now the guys that qualified, if you look at that tournament, you say you've got a lot of talent in there. My pick for this, I would have gone with The Undertaker or Shawn Michaels, but the babyface versus babyface for Diesel's title, they didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought SummerSlam's ratings would have gone up just a little bit more if they would have had Diesel versus Shawn Michaels, the rematch, or even Diesel versus The Undertaker. And even if it ends in a kind of disqualification where they still save face, I think it would have been a lot better than what we got. And I think because SummerSlam drew so bad, that this is why they stopped the King of the Ring winner getting the title shot. Because they took a gamble on this guy and it blew up in their face.
Yeah, I mean, but whose fault is that?
The person that said Mabel was going to win. Whoops. Yeah. Did I give it away already?
Yeah, spoiler.
And we're not even there yet. So anyway, in any event now, we go to round one. 8 minutes, 24-second opening match. Savio Vega defeats Yokozuna by countout. Now, this was also Yoko's start for his demise, if you remember, because now they're not doing anything with him. He's in the tag team with Owen Hart. I actually think he got one more title shot, and that was at the pay-per-view. Two chaps with all the straps. I think that was after SummerSlam, I believe.
Yeah.
So he had gotten one more title shot, and then that was pretty much it for him.
Yeah, then he went to relegated to tag.
Yeah,
to tag me.
and then pretty much just after that, nothing.
Yeah. Doc Hendricks was doing commentary. Do you remember that?
Wasn't this when he started?
Yeah.
I believe in 1995. Yeah.
I actually did laugh when he was translating Savio Vega and he was saying, "Oh, I have no chance to win," and that wasn't anything close to what Savio said.
I remember that.
And he said something else, and then Vince later on was like, "Okay, that's enough of that translation or some of that."
Oh my God, that was hysterical.
Yeah.
And it's funny now if you look at it, Doc Hendricks is going to be. Everybody's gonna probably have watched it already. The NXT in Your House that aired. He was the host of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking, what happened? You couldn't get Todd Pettengill for that role?
I
Actually, I think he did last year.
You know what? What is that lady's name with the short hair? Because I completely forgot she was part of WWF at the time. I forgot her name, and I just watched this. You know what I'm talking about? Brunette, short hair. She was at the King of the Ring '95, and she was interviewing the wrestlers.
Oh,
I was like, what happened? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, she was like, yes, I remember which one you're talking about because she used to be with Pettengill a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny because
she was there for a cup of coffee, but I do remember who you.
Until I saw her, she was like erased from my history.
Yeah.
Then I saw her, and I'm like, oh, I remember her.
She was there briefly. She was there pretty much probably as long as what was that one guy, that Joe something or other, I think back in 1993 when he was interviewing Shawn Michaels with the Intercontinental. You won it, you lost it, you won it. Can you hold on to this thing? These guys, these announcers just kept.
They probably just tried them out.
In that timeline, they just kept rotating.
Yeah.
They couldn't find the perfect person after they let everybody go. And then Todd Pettengill, shortly before the Attitude Era, had jumped ship.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was hard to keep those backstage guys. But I liked when Doc Hendricks was there. He made it interesting.
No, he was funny.
I just wish changing his name. I'm like, really? Come on, we all know it's Michael Hayes.
I never understood that.
And Vince, like we said, Vince has always got to put his stamp on him.
Yeah. Johnny Polo.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. But anyway.
Scotty, you can call him Scotty Flamingo or Raven at this point. I don't care. Just don't call him Johnny Polo.
Johnny Polo.
Well, Dan Spivey, Waylon Mercy in 1995. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. And
now, of course, Aldo Montoya. We can go through a whole episode of jobbers. We'd be here all night. In any event, the next match in the tournament, the Roadie defeated Bob Holly in 7 minutes 11 seconds. Okay.
And Jeff Jarrett was in his corner.
Of course, because Jeff Jarrett couldn't make this, so the Roadie obviously did. This next match, I didn't understand doing this because, again, I really wish these guys should have moved on. Shawn Michaels and Kama ended in a time limit draw. And I didn't understand, if you're going to put Shawn Michaels in the tournament, why are you going to have an early exit?
That's what
you've got him and The Undertaker. You've got a relevant tournament here.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, why would you have Shawn in there to begin with if you're not going to at least let him showcase and put on some great matches for you for the pay-per-view? Why would you have him in a double draw?
Exactly.
A draw?
There's two things that have eluded Shawn Michaels in his career: the United States Championship and the King of the Ring champion title. And the same thing with The Undertaker, the Intercontinental title, the U.S. and the King of the Ring. But again, why not give it to them?
No. And the way they did it too, Shawn won at right after time expired, and then Shawn super kicks him after that.
Yeah, well, that's vintage.
So Shawn still, he saves face, but
he still had a smile.
Yeah,
and it wasn't Brett.
So, but I don't know. It's kind of.
I don't know why they did that. Yeah, this tournament bracket, which they kind of it was decent to start, but then it just started going downhill from there.
Yeah.
Especially with the winner. I mean, they took a huge shot and just failed miserably. And then the final qualifying match, and if they did this for a feud, that I understand because the feud between these two was decent when Mabel defeated The Undertaker. Now, I do believe this is where he supposedly fractured his cheekbone.
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was that pay-per-view or it was right after that. Was it?
I think he did. He did. Did he leg drop him?
He leg dropped. No, he did
3 times.
He leg dropped. Yeah.
Was it 3 times?
I
don't think that was. Then I think it might have been then the In Your House after it.
Yeah, and I know it happens at some point, and he breaks his orbital bone.
Yeah. And he comes out through Survivor Series with that match was actually pretty cool. But if you want to start the feud between the two, I'm all for it. It didn't really go anywhere. But
Kama came out and cost him the match, though.
Yeah, because he was still feuding with the $1 Million Corporation.
He was still feuding with the corporation. So
because that was right after the urn had been melted down.
Yeah, he melted it down. Yeah.
Awesome. That was a badass chain too. Of course, and that's his boy too. Remember,
right?
They had their group there. So now you got the Undertaker's out. You got Shawn Michaels is out. I mean, I looked at this when I watched it, and I'm like, okay. First thing popped in my head is, okay, I think this kid Savio Vega is going all the way.
Yeah, and they kept reiterating the fact that he's going to set a record if he's able to win 4 times in one night in the King of the Ring, because the King of the Ring is normally only 3 matches, but because he had to qualify even to get in that night, he would have set a record and would have won 4 King of the Ring matches.
A King of the Ring record, but as far as a tournament goes, I think a guy by the name of Randy Savage.
Yeah, Marchman. No, but they weren't saying that. They were saying King of the Ring.
Just King of the Ring.
They were saying
because all the King of the Ring tournaments they had, even the ones in the 80s, there was only 3 matches that you pretty much had to wrestle. There was one that was 4. I'm not 100% sure.
I just hate when they give the heel the bye in the next round. Like they did.
Of course.
I hate when they do that.
Well, imagine what the match would have been like if it was Mabel versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Or even Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker.
Right.
That right there would have been
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Great second round match.
Wasted talent on that card.
1995, they held everybody back because of Diesel. And I don't understand it, because if you put him in the matches with Diesel, he's going to shine even more. They're not going to lose face if they lose to him.
Yeah, but the problem is that you put a guy like Shawn versus Diesel again, Shawn's going to outshine him. That was the problem. And they were really pushing. So
why not Diesel. The Undertaker then? I mean,
I don't know.
Mabel was too soon, too fast, too soon, and it didn't work. It really did not work.
They wanted that whole monster heel versus.
Then at least let it be King Kong Bundy. To somebody that actually has been there before.
No, but King Kong Bundy at that point was not,
I know, he was trash because they didn't use him right.
Yeah. I don't think he cared at that point. I don't know. When he made that return, I always felt like he was never that same King Kong Bundy that feuded with Hogan.
After WrestleMania, he kind of lost a little of that spark that he had when he fought Hogan.
Yeah.
At this point, it was just like, I'm here. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, again, 1995. Look at what was going on.
Yeah, it was just a
bad year. So from there, now we go on to the semifinals. This pay-per-view really didn't have any in-between matches to kind of break up the tournament, other than the main event.
Yeah.
This is the first time they did that. No tag title match, no IC title match, no nothing. So in the semifinals now, 6 minutes 36 seconds. Savio Vega defeated the Roadie. That's not hard. Oh, I'm sorry. There was one match. My apologies to that, and it wasn't even a good one. Because the following match after that was a Kiss My Foot match.
Oh, God.
Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler. Now, all of a sudden, and we've talked about this in the Bret Hart episode and multiple times and everything else, that they held Bret back in 1995, and they just gave him the most ridiculous things to do. So what's more ridiculous than bringing up an old rival from 2 years ago in Jerry Lawler with this whole, I'm not going to wash my foot, I'm going to leave it stinky for him, and this whole thing was just, no. It didn't make any sense. Bret Hart beats him. I mean, he makes Jerry Lawler kiss his own nasty foot, which eventually led to Glenn Jacobs, Isaac Yankem, what are you going to call him, coming into the WWE.
Getting revenge. The only thing I liked was that Bret got him in the sharpshooter and he held on right before they were going to disqualify him. He takes it off. And then he beats him up.
Yes.
And then he beats him up, and then the thing with the foot. But it was it was disgusting. But at least Bret.
It was, and again, it's something that's bad for a guy so talented as him.
No.
Holding him back. Again, we've discussed this numerous times. Everybody seemed to be held back because of Diesel, and I think that hurts him. It really does. Because then you got to look at his credibility as champion. Going, was he a paperweight champion? I mean, did they just keep the placeholder for the title for the year just so Bret could get it at the end?
I mean, I don't want to get into a whole Diesel rant, but I've always been of the opinion that they screwed up because they made him a babyface. They should have kept him a heel.
He should have been a heel.
That's all.
Absolutely. Yeah. It would have been way better, and the caliber matches would have been better too.
Mm-hmm.
So now we go to the King of the Ring final. And unfortunately, the no miracle here. The Cinderella story ended. Mabel defeats Savio Vega, 8 minutes 32 seconds. So now you've got King Mabel, going on to SummerSlam to face the WWE champion. And this is, I believe, because it did so bad, this is why they stopped it. Because in the following year, they didn't do this again until, ironically, 2002.
Right, with Brock, yeah.
Yeah, how funny is that? But everybody before that, between that, just didn't get it anymore.
You kind of felt like they just did that with Brock just to have him just have all those milestones. Mm-hmm. Other than, I guess, winning the IC title, right?
Well, he never won that.
That's what I'm saying. Other than that, he just...
They gave him everything too fast to the point when he left, it's like, I've accomplished everything. Why am I going to still be here?
Right, yeah.
And I've never been in agreement of, you want to push somebody, that's fine. Do it the right way. Start with the IC title, see how that goes, and then move them on up. You start giving them everything so fast in the first 2 years, it's like, okay, why am I going to stick around in the business if I've done it all already? Am I going to do it again? And that's one of the reasons why I believe he left. Mm-hmm. When we do Brock's episode, we'll get into that. So now, Mabel goes on to the main event. Speaking of the main event, and this one, they didn't even have a WWE title match, which again really aggravated me as well because it was a tag match. It was Diesel and Bam Bam Bigelow versus Tatanka and Psycho Sid.
I never liked Tatanka as a heel either. No, I always thought he was a good babyface. I never liked him as a heel. I never bought it.
It ruined him.
Bam Bam, I guess Bam Bam was okay as a babyface.
He's played the babyface before.
He's played it before. I thought he was okay as a babyface.
The inaugural Survivor Series, he was on Hogan's team, so he was a babyface for the first couple of years. He was there. When he came back, he did the heel role. He could do either or, but the heel suited him more.
The heel suited him a little bit more. I guess
actually the heel suited all four of them better.
Yeah, I don't know what he was wearing. That he had like the flames,
the flame thing. Yeah. Now all of a sudden they changed his music.
Yeah, and then they remember he had become friends with Diesel earlier in the year. After Diesel beat him, then the corporation kicked him out of the corporation.
After he lost to LT.
Right. So now then him and Diesel became friends. And then here we are in a tag match. You know what I noticed about Diesel? He was like he was the guy that was dragging the belt to the ring before Austin was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wouldn't wear it. He would hold it in his hand.
Right.
Which I thought was cool. He paved the way for that because he was one of the non-conformist champions. Going, I'm not going to wear it like it. Well, he did sometimes.
But
for the most part, he held it. And I'll do you one better. The Undertaker did it before him.
That's
Tuesday
true.
In Texas, he walked out with it.
He dragged it. You're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's always going to be one, but we'll find out later on. Those guys, they did it cool. Mm-hmm. And Diesel and Bigelow win the match, 17 and a half minutes. Which is probably 15 minutes more than we wanted the match.
Diesel did such a really bad jackknife on Tatanka. Mm-hmm. It looked more like a slam than anything else. It was like,
there was no.
They didn't want to be there.
Into this
I don't
match.
think they wanted.
They didn't want to be there. Well, this was in Philadelphia, so you've got the ECW has started is in full force. So now it's Philly's a hard crowd to get over with. Especially if you've got a bad roster. They almost had about 17,000 fans there.
Yeah, it was at the Spectrum before they closed the Spectrum.
Mm-hmm. So, and Philly is a rough place to. If you don't put on a good card, boy, they're going to tell you.
Yeah.
Which is probably why with the traveling and the city tours, I noticed Philly's not on there right now.
Not yet. Yeah.
So Philly is like New York. It's the mecca of. They'll tell you whether or not it's good or not, and. Philly, I remember the crowd gave him a hard time that night. They let him have it. Yeah, but again, it was 1995.
Yeah. I don't know. This pay-per-view was very, very, very disappointing.
Oh, I'm sure 95, trust me. Can you top
the
this?
whole year? The whole year
Well, SummerSlam wasn't bad. The ladder match
Sean
was all right. Survivor Series was but the In Your Houses was just like, oh, Jesus, God. But they were starting it.
They were just starting them. Yeah.
It was a progress. They were trying.
It was so bad. Even the power goes out in one of the In Your Houses too in 95, right?
No, it was 96.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The hurricane.
Yeah, it was Beware of Dog. Yeah.
Funny story on that one. I'm watching it on pay-per-view, and I remember the announcers saying, "Call your local cable provider and get your money back." And I'm like, "Okay." So I call up New York. It was Cablevision. I call them up and say, "Vince McMahon said I need to get my money back," and they hung up on me. I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not paying for this," because you only had half of the thing because they had a hurricane go through there. So they're trying to wrestle one of the matches in the dark, and that didn't work. So then I think the next night they finished the card with the last. I think it was the last 3 matches.
Yeah, they had the Beware of Dog 2. They had.
Which Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog. Yeah, that was just like that, and that just quickly reminds me of this past WrestleMania when we got the fans back. Rain delay. It's just like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
But but 95 was just a disaster, and this was another disaster.
They get better in 96. When we do the King of the Ring 96 review, it's way better, way bigger result. Everybody's favorite moment comes out that day. I know it was for me because I went out a week later and I bought that shirt.
Yep. So, all right, that's our King of the Ring 95 review. We continue to review the King of the Ring series. So make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
And let us know if you think somebody else should have won this King of the Ring in that list. Please.
I'm sure there's a lot more people that could have won.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys.